Clubhouse
I don't
T.
know how many weeks ago, but I saw on Twitter how a lot of Somali people were saying, "Oh, we are not black, right? We are Somali." This type of stuff, and I'm pretty sure a lot of that mentality is spread throughout Africa, and it's just not in East
Nah,
Africa, right?
I
No,
think that's
I can't
ethnicity.
I've
lie.
literally seen the
There's
accounts,
separate
and a
reasons
lot of
for
people
that.
have.
That's
There is
ethnicity. You're confusing ethnicity and race there. That's what you're
no,
doing.
I don't
I'm
think he's confusing
He's
it.
I'm
not
not I'm
confusing
not
it.
confusing it.
Those people are
The
Those
people
people are
confused.
tweeting it are
confused.
Well,
confused.
Can
those
we
people
please
are
have one
identifying
mic?
their
One
ethnicity.
mic.
Those people are identifying ethnicity. Go on, Gloriana.
I
Sorry.
was just gonna say like about the whole Somali thing that Somali people is. I feel as if in this
Clubhouse
conversation,
T.
this conversation should be more about West African, Sub-Saharan Africans because Somali people don't really include themselves in the same category as us, which is why they call themselves solely Somali, and that's their race to them. That's just how they operate. I feel
The
like
race
I
we
is
mean,
a
can't
social
I
I
do
construct.
mean, we
want
talking.
Even okay, hold up. I wanted to say something about how like I think somebody had asked what we can do to like I don't know somebody like learn further about like our blackness or whatever. I don't know who asked that, but it was a little while ago. I've been trying to talk for a while. I'm sorry, but I kind of want to answer that. Like I figure most of us in this clubhouse right now are in our 20s. And according to at least what I learned from African American psychology, this is the time where
Clubhouse
we are
T.
learning the most about our blackness. It's literally a whole cycle with our cognizance, I swear. But right now is where we learn the most about it. Sometimes people can't always just read stuff. People can't always watch documentaries. A lot of folk don't have time for that. Sometimes the most people learn about it is just on their Twitter feed when they see them little arguments. And that's okay too. But for now, I'll say, at least from listening to y'all for the past hour or so, it's okay to just listen and learn. Not always as soon as you hear something that's slightly off from what you know, you want to go to Twitter and call that those group of people stupid because they are only talking about what they've seen and what they know.
Clubhouse T.
You should rather take that and realize, okay, that's what they know. Let me tell them what I know. Combine it together. Because I think somebody said black people are not a monolith. No matter how no matter how often we read about the slave trade, read about American history, British history, we will never, ever, ever be the same whatsoever. We can learn about our differences and we can use them because I want you to understand like blackness is so precious. There should be no need and no desire to become like just one. Like it's perfectly okay to be
Mhm.
different, but constantly calling each other stupid on Twitter, constantly being like smart alecky and stuff like that, it does not cause people to learn. It rather like if somebody's ignorant, it rather causes them to be too scared to speak about what they know or what they think they know so they can be corrected. Instead, there's folks calling them out and they're too embarrassed to want to speak up. And that's just not what I'm with. I really, really just want everyone to just listen and listen to the different versions of blackness. Please.
I've got a question.
I like that right there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Yeah, I really
I've
like
got
that.
yeah, I've
Mhm.
got a question. I've got a statement and a question actually. Sorry. So I think
Clubhouse
I
T.
think I did point out a bit before or when I spoke last was that like black is black. Like the first thing you see is a black person before you get to know them. You see a black person, you're like, that's a black person. Then you be like, oh shit, that's a black British person. One of my best friends who I thought was just a black British person is actually from Netherlands, which is Dutch. So he's black Dutch. So, I mean, so it's a bit different with that. Is that you can everyone black is black. My guy Iola, I've never met you before, but I can see that you're black. I mean, wherever you're from, I don't know where you're from, but I just know that you're black. So until I get to know you, and then you tell me, actually, Vic, I don't identify as black, then I'll be like, oh shit, okay, my bad. But then the first thing I'll see is you're black. And then Sorry. my question as well is for the people or the person that wrote this title or asked the question, do you feel that you have learned anything so far, or do you feel like you're still in the same,
Clubhouse T.
question? Oh,
So, because
Here's
because I made the room, I'm gonna speak about it real quick. But have I learned anything? Yeah, in terms of open-mindedness, not necessarily the things I believe, but in terms of being open-minded, I have learned a lot because being black, and that's the point of this
call is because last night I learned that a lot of people view the word black as culture rather than a phenotype, or I see you and I see black, so you're black. A lot of people attach blackness to history, to lineage, to what you grew up doing and what I didn't. So it's very eye opening to hear what other people say black is. So that's personally what I've learned. Is blackness is not what I thought, nor is it only what I think, but there are also different versions
Clubhouse
of
T.
blackness and what it can entail, and nobody's idea of blackness is wrong. It's just different.
100%.
I
Hey
just want to
And I
family,
say
also
before
yo
I,
guys,
one mic.
sorry.
I also want to.
I just came on and I just want to say very quickly because I have to go. It's 5 a.m. I am in Ibadan, Nigeria. I
Mm-hmm.
spent 15 years of my life in the States and I came back home. And I'm probably the old dude in the room. I feel like I can feel an energy like a lot of people are in their mid 20s. I'm 34, y'all. So kind of a different generation a little bit. And I just want to give you guys some perspective. You guys are literally, and I might
Clubhouse
get
T.
emotional, but you guys are going to fix so much shit. When I got to the US, there was so much divide. We couldn't have these conversations, you know? Like it was so bad, but something about the way you guys approach it is like you talk. It's just so different. Like you talk to each other. Like, yeah, you might get triggered, like someone saying stupid, someone saying this, but you guys didn't end the room. The room didn't go crazy, you know? You guys worked through it, and it gives me so much hope, right? And I just want to share like
Clubhouse
some of the
T.
things that I'm so passionate about this topic. And I did a lot of work. I used to work at Google in San Francisco. I did a lot of work at Google on this topic. It wasn't my real day-to-day job, but it's the only thing I actually wanted to work on. So I started a group at Google called Africans at Google. Like at first, we had a lot of issues with the Black community. It's almost like if you went to an American university, there's always like Black student union, African student union. There's always like friction. It was just like the continuation of that. But now at like a place as awesome as like Google, you could still see that shit. And one of the things that we did was we said, listen, this is no, this stops. Like we have to figure this out. So we read this book called Homegoing by Jesse, and we did a whole thing on it. There's a video
Clubhouse
I'll put in
T.
my bio because Google ended up posting the video, so it's on YouTube. You can find it. What we did was we invited Jesse to come, and what the book does is it's really interesting because is like she's like a lot of people in this room, first generation American. Like her parents are Ghanaian, but she grew up in America, so all she knows like she's part of like this third culture where like kids are kind of um, Black American kids, and she's from my generation, right? So if you were like born in the 80s, there was a time there was not a lot of information. So our African parents would say rude things about being Black American. That was just like, it's like today, it's just like, that was horrible to say. But also, Black American kids were being taught to call like first generation Africans like spear chucker and stuff like that. So she
Clubhouse
grew up
T.
in that. So her book was trying to solve that by saying, hey guys, I'm actually going to take us back like 300 years and show this is it's fictional, but you can follow and you can see how like, yo, Dwight, you might be my cousin. Like, and the African American person that was speaking earlier, you might be my like distant cousin. Like, we have to stop looking at this shit as we're different and start like celebrating we celebrate our differences, but also appreciate that we can be unified. And when we unify, then we have like economic power and political power, and we can get out of under the foot of the whole world. So what we did, just to give you an example of what we did and what I think people are asking for solutions. So I think this is a potential solution. If you have a community where you have, like if you're going to a university or you're working in a company, literally you can do the exact same thing we did. We called it like ancestral walk. You say, everybody, African American, Afro Caribbean, we're going to read Jesse's book. And then when we're done, for anybody that's comfortable, we're gonna do like all these DNA testing stuff. And then we're gonna like kind of see, oh shit, dude, you're kind of like East African. Um, but
Clubhouse T.
you've been in America for your line has been in America for 200 years. But it turns out you're kind of from like Somalia or Ethiopia. Here, meet like a first generation or zero generation Ethiopian. And sorry, just like that changed the game. So it's like kind of localizing those strange, like those talking groups, and you can have action. I think that's how things work. Like it's not a national conversation or international conversation. It's like us doing these conversations in small pods in our communities, and that will help. So please try watching the video on YouTube if you're really ginger, like, and you want to work on solutions, or DM me. I will tell you everything I can because I'm so moved by the possibilities of you guys. So thank you so much for even creating a space
No,
for this.
that was so
Thank
good.
Thank
you.
you.
Hey,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Yes.
Did you put the
No, I
link
Thank
in
you
your
really
so
appreciate
bio?
that.
much. Like,
All
for real.
right. I'm gonna take some people off the stage so other people can talk. So
Did you put
yeah.
the Hey, did you put the link in your bio?
Yeah,
Um,
I'll
Zoom
do
you
that
record.
right
guys,
now. I'll do that right now on
thank
YouTube, on
you,
my
Vash.
Twitter
Thank
and
you.
Instagram.
Can
No
I
problem.
just
Thank you guys.
can I
Oh
just
yeah,
say one
I
more
also
thing
wanted
and
to
then
mention. Oh, I'm sorry.
one mic. I was just gonna say, can I just say one more thing and then I can get removed? I really loved what Bash just said, and it's not easy to even be on a platform like this, being the only person who is just African American, straight up, doesn't know their background or anything. Well, I do, but we had to find it through other means. So I appreciate being able to even be in this space, because it can be intimidating to some people, and just being able to provide our perspective over here, and also just letting you all know, the people that may have those thoughts of, well, North American blacks, they think this and that, just being able to say, like, hey, I am one of those people here who, I appreciate us all. I feel like we're all the same. We're different, but we're still black, and we are one. So I just am thankful for having the opportunity on this stage, whereas some people wouldn't even allow it. And we all know in each of our spaces it wouldn't be allowed. Some people would accept you all, and some people wouldn't accept me. So it's just great that we can at least do this now. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
your
Thank
knowledge
you
and
for
your
your input.
experiences.
Honestly, like it's very important.
Absolutely. Thank you
Hey,
guys.
y'all, I've put the links on my bio, so I'm gonna move down to the audience as well.
Thank you,
So if you
Thank
guys
Bash.
you
can
so
kindly talk.
much.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thanks,
Thanks.
guys.
Okay, I have one last thing to say. I know before I mentioned that like not everyone wants to read and stuff like that. But for those who do want to read and who do want to learn more, when I took Black Women History, my professor gave me a master list of all sorts of books talking from the slave trade up until now, from a Black woman's perspective, as well as just Black
Clubhouse
history in
tea.
general. If you do want to read more about history and stuff like that, or just other perspectives, like please DM me on either one of my social media accounts with your email, and I will gladly send it to you. Like I'm telling you, it's a really extensive list if you want to get into it.
All right, I'm about to turn on hand raising.
Are
Clubhouse
people
tea.
okay? We're just adding people as of right now.
I hope we get a better mix than we had before.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear everybody's
Yeah, I want to hear
perspectives.
from everybody.
Okay, for my question to the new people that were added is, do you guys have anything to add on any of the topics we touched?
Clubhouse
Yeah,
tea.
hi guys, I'm
Hello.
Brumla. I wanted to respond to a comment that was said earlier. Someone said that this conversation should be more focused on the West Africans because Somalis don't believe they're black, and I don't agree with that at all. I think the erasure of 4C Somalis, kinky textured Bantu Somalis, dark skinned Somalis is
Agreed.
disgusting. There isn't one look to Somalis. Sure, there's 4B, 4C Somalis, but there's even more 4C Somalis. Just because we don't fit your standard of black doesn't make us any less black. I just wanted to add on to that. We go through the same struggles as you. We went through colorism. We've been denied our blackness as well. And that's just all I wanted to add on.
Clubhouse tea.
Um,
Thank you.
to
Thank
kind
you
of
for opening our eyes to that.
I'm sorry. Two things. I do like what you just said, Ramla, about people like the different adversities, and I think that a lot of people focus on oppression Olympics. And I'm not sure if y'all talked about that earlier. People are trying to say that their struggle was worse than this person's struggle, which try to invalidate somebody else's struggle. And I think that it's really important to find a mutual understanding in the different adversities that people face. Because I was in one of these type of rooms that are Africans even black type of rooms before, and I'm Nigerian full blown. And I mean, when you look at it, when you're applying for a job, people say maybe there should be different categories, but me, I hire for my company and I'm an engineer. And black is from a skin tone, but I think black as a culture, I don't necessarily think Africans are black in a cultural sense. I think Africans, well, at least let me say me. I don't identify as black culturally because I'm Nigerian. I'm Nigerian and American. But I do know that I'm black in terms of my skin tone and how the white people
Clubhouse
may
tea.
perceive me.
Okay, I have something to say about that. Because we can say like black is only like how you look, but like if you're a light skin, you're still black, or if you're a mixed person, like you're still black, even if you don't look black like physically. So I feel like it's more to blackness than just your skin color or how you feel personally. If
Can
that
I
But
makes
if you don't
sense.
identify with
can I
One
somebody,
mic.
can I
One mic.
respond to what
One mic.
Opa just said?
Yes.
I just want to say what you said. I think that we still suffer from a lot of the from a lot of stuff that was forced onto us, post like slavery, during colonialism, and during the civil rights movement, where and Jim Crow, where there's this idea that if you have even just a little bit of black in you, you're black. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that that's why a lot of white people and a lot of
Clubhouse tea.
like y'all were saying earlier, a lot of Pacific Islanders and a lot of like people who aren't descendants from Africa are calling themselves black, because we've allowed them to think, oh, if you have just a little bit, or if your pigment is a little bit darker, then you can identify yourself with us, when it's not really like that. You know what I mean? I don't think that I don't believe that black people, quote unquote black people, who are white passing are black, because they don't experience blackness the way that we do. You know what I mean? When white people see them outside, they think that they're white, regardless of if they have black in them or not. So I think that we also need to take into account that your physical appearance does have to do with blackness. You know what I mean? There are certain people, like Rachel Dolezal, that was able to get away with pretending to be black when she isn't, just because she has a little bit more pigment
Clubhouse
in her
tea.
skin, or because she was able to, add a fake tan and curl her hair a little bit and make herself look back. I think that we need to start gatekeeping certain things with blackness,
Yes,
so
we
that
do.
our culture doesn't disappear, so that what we look like doesn't disappear. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't be saying the Nicole Richies and the Meghan Markle, they're not black. You know what I mean? That they don't experience blackness the way that we do, because they can pass for white. The same thing with Pacific Islanders and Samoans. Nobody
Can I add on to that?
looks just give me 1 second. I'm about to finish. Nobody looks at them as like, oh, they're
Clubhouse
black. You
tea.
know what I mean? They actually, I don't think that it's right for them to choose to identify themselves as black, because they aren't black. They're not descendants from Africa. They're not black at the end of the day.
I'm sorry, Somalis aren't black.
What?
Wait,
I
Somalis are
don't.
who?
Somalians.
I said
Somalians are black.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It
No,
sounded
no, no,
confusing.
not Somali. And for the Somali point, I think that Somalian people, whether they want to believe it or not, all Somalian people are black at the end of the day.
I agree. There's going to be self-hate in every ethnic group. You can't.
Exactly.
Clubhouse
Because,
tea.
Few people say they're not black.
Ethiopians, Eritreans, they'll tell you the same thing. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm not black," but at the end of the day, they're Ethiopians.
Clubhouse tea.
Just because we have these
Exactly.
images of what East African women are, these light skinned women with, you know, big foreheads and, you know, these small features on their face, and they're slim and they're thick and all these things, just because we have that idea in our head. That is not what they are. Ethiopia is so diverse. If you go to Ethiopia, most people don't even look like that.
East
And you know
Africa
what?
is
I think
diverse.
that
We don't all
I
have,
think I think that that's the problem. I think that we need to look out and look at how, like, look at these different things and see that blackness is, there's a bunch of different types of blackness, but we also need to hold on to blackness and keep it to ourselves.
Can I add a perspective? Hi, my name's Chins. I'm a Black British Nigerian. I just wanted to touch on a few things. So I've listened to everything that everybody's saying, and I completely understand where a lot of African Americans are coming from, or Black Americans. But and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I'm kind of getting is that you kind of see blackness as being a culture as well as a race, which I completely understand, because if you are African American, you're gonna hold on to your Black culture more so, just because you can't necessarily trace your ethnicity back the way that some first gen American Africans can, or some Black Africans can, or Black British Africans can, if you get what I'm saying. But I think the main kind of problem that I think a lot of people are getting from this title in particular is actually just the way you've like phrased the question, the are Africans even Black? I've been here for a while, so like I've been paying attention to what everyone's been saying. And whether, in my opinion, whether American Africans, and I'm just trying to word it properly because I don't want to get it wrong, whether American Africans identify as Black or not, culturally, I completely get why they wouldn't, just because, not that there's anything necessarily negative to it. And I heard someone earlier say that, you know, some American African parents, like first gen parents, might say, you know, you can't associate that because you're Nigerian or you're Ethiopian or whatever you are. But that's more just to hold on to their culture. It's got nothing to do with looking down on them, if that makes sense. It's the same way in the UK. For some of us, I'm saying some of us, not all of us, some of our parents, I'm first gen, my parents definitely told me at some point, you need to remember you're Nigerian, you're not British, or you're not Black British. You can't be acting like these kids, not because they're looking down on them, but because they've got a certain tradition, they got a certain culture, but not because they don't see them as you know, as anything negative. And then in terms touching upon, does that make sense, by the way? Sorry,
I just wanted to
Yeah,
say real quickly
Yeah.
about the
It does
whole
One mic.
looking. I just wanted to say real quick about
I
the
just
whole.
wanted to also touch upon the East African thing as well. Again, coming from a Black Brit point of view, so from the UK. With that, I'm only speaking from the UK, by the way. Growing up, a lot of Black British people definitely got from East Africans, more particularly the Somalis and the I'm not gonna say Sudanese people, but it was mainly the Somali people. They didn't want to identify with being Black, and again, I completely agree that, you know, you can get self-hate in every culture, every ethnicity. But it was just more from that. So, and I understand, I don't know if it's the same in America as well, but again, it's just self-hate. It's something that eventually people have to unlearn. And and it is annoying that, you know, you might feel like your Blackness is being you know, disregarded or eradicated or erased. But please, regardless of what anybody says, you're Black at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And definitely you need to look at, it's featureism. You must look at featureism. I'm not a fan of the one drop rule. I feel like if you look Black, you are Black, because you're going to face the Black oppression. Do you get? So for anyone thinking that, you know, they've got like a drop of Black in them, that makes them Black, it doesn't make them Black. How you look, if you got black skin, if you've got black skin, that's what makes you Black.
Exactly.
Thank you, Jen.
Exactly. I feel like
Can
if it's a
I
question.
say something?
Can I?
Okay. I just wanted to address on the title of the room thing. I feel like I should always, because I'm the person who made the room. But I completely understand what you're saying, Chins, and I definitely thank you for that. The name of the room also pertains to the fact that there are some people, specifically some African Americans, I'm not going to say all, some, that believe that Blackness comes from culture, and it's not just that you look Black, you are Black. So that's why the title of the name is, or the title of the room is that, because
right, so it's more in relation to culture, just to clarify.
Right, yeah, because
Yeah,
I don't know if
that
you're
that I
earlier, but I
completely
had a discussion about
yeah.
it, and someone was
Yeah.
like, "Are Africans even Black?" Because they never had to go through slavery. So that's how I determine who is black and who's not. And to me, they're not.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, like that's interesting, but I wouldn't say that personally.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I completely get that. And I
Well, I
also feel like
feel
as well, the black experience in general is just so not even ridiculously in a bad way, but it's so diverse. Like the way that we
Yeah.
experience, oppression in the UK or even
Clubhouse
within
tea.
Africa,
Right.
or in the Caribbean, it's because the whole world is just so integrated. The way that we experience blackness is so different,
It's
but at the end
different,
of the
right?
day, it's still black. I feel like there's different parts of or different types of black culture. And we completely recognize, American black culture is so important, but I think it's just very important to recognize, as in, if anyone who's listening here as an American, if you don't realize that there's other black culture outside of America, please recognize that there is, because I think
so.
just from a UK point of view, it can be quite frustrating just to see black Americans almost dismiss other black people's
Yeah,
experiences
but
and
Clubhouse
and
tea.
So
like
guys,
Thank you,
let me
Chin.
just help
Thank
real
you,
quick.
Chin.
Please, can we go? Keiichi has been trying to speak. So can we go Keiichi, then Nick, then D1? Because I'm trying to speak too, but it's
Okay.
like if we keep cutting
Okay.
each other
Can we
off,
do
we
me
don't hear
after,
new
please?
voices.
Yeah, I
Go
want
Yeah,
to
ahead,
I'm
go
okay
Yeah,
D1.
as
with.
well.
I just wanted to touch a little bit on what you said about like the way our parents talk about African Americans, because I've seen this discussion a lot on Twitter and it's so annoying, but it's like I kind of
Clubhouse
understand
tea.
from both perspectives how African Americans, especially, they latch onto the word that we use, akata, and it's just like I
That's a real
understand
thing.
because I know when my like I mean obviously I've talked to my parents and they know better now, but growing up, they would be like, oh, these akatas, ah, nah, nah, they're ghetto, da, da, da. And so like as much as we want to say I think I cut out, but as much as we want to say like, oh, we don't mean any harm by it, like we know better, like that it's used derogatorily.
Exactly.
So it's like I don't know. I just wanted to open that up.
Yeah, definitely. I think, sorry, I don't mean, if anyone wanted to speak, just very quickly, just
So
in
Nick,
response.
Nick is next. Sorry, because if we do the responses, it just takes a long
Clubhouse
time for
tea.
new people to speak.
I'm gonna keep
So
it
if you
brief.
don't
I
mind,
didn't really hear.
okay.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't really hear most of the conversation.
I agree with Bash.
Listen, that's cool. But
Yeah.
what I'm just here to say is that first of all, I think essentially we're all black people. But when you look at the word black, I think the word black has been specifically adopted by people of a black people from America, African descents of America. Now, I'm not saying that I can't look at my African brothers and sisters and say they're not black. I'm not saying I can't look at people that in Latin countries and say they're not black. But what I feel like is that
Clubhouse
specifically the
tea.
word black as constituted today, we use it and we've used it historically in the sense of American African descendants, because typically I find that in America and across the world, other people that look like me, um, a lot of them do identify as black now because of their just they've they've been influenced by American culture, but a lot of them don't. They see themselves from whatever their native country was. So whether it's Nigeria or Ghana or Senegal and different places. So I'm not saying that Africans can't be black, but what I am saying is that um, being black is an African American thing that we adopted and we used because we could not trace our lineage, we could not trace our ancestry. So we decided, you know what, we're just gonna be fucking black. Um, so yeah, that's all I really have to say. I don't really, like I said, I if Africans want to identify as being black, I'm okay with that. If people of Latin heritage that are that have
Clubhouse
African roots
tea.
want to identify, that's fine. But I just don't think that people that look like me historically and even now that know directly their heritage and their culture and their lineage, I don't believe that they initially identified like as black. They identify as Nigerian or Ghanaian and different things. So that's all I have to say.
And energy, man. D1, and then Renee.
Yeah.
Can I go after Renee? All I was gonna say was the one thing that I think African Americans need to understand is that even though slavery was terrible and it encompasses a large amount, like a large portion of oppression towards Black people, like there's oppression everywhere, you know? Like, even the British Blacks, even Blacks in other countries, we all face oppression. So to say that only you guys can identify as being Black is kind of, I feel like it's kind of wrong.
He didn't say
I
that.
love
He
it.
didn't say that.
No, I didn't say that, but I understand where you're coming
No,
from.
but you said you wouldn't mind if other people
Well, no, what
like
I'm saying is what it needs to
identified
be.
as being Black, but you're basically saying that
But what I'm saying
essentially
is,
only African Americans should.
okay, no, not, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when you go to these different countries in Africa, they don't call each other black. Like black is like the word black. If you look at the etymology of it, like it comes from an American standpoint. Like it comes like you got like Africans in other countries. They didn't really identify or label each other as black. You know what I mean? It's the Americans
So
do it
Nick,
because we
Because
sorry.
have
there's
it.
no need to. There's no need
Yeah,
No,
to
I
Nick,
label
understand.
Nick,
each
I
I
other as
don't,
understand
Black.
I don't
that.
want to. One mic, y'all. Sorry.
Hey,
Nick and D1, I get the vibe. Let's move on. For not because we don't want to deal with this issue, but what I want to make sure is like D1, like so Nick now is now feeling attacked, so he got to defend himself. So that
No,
doesn't
no,
really
it wasn't
help
an
us.
attack. It wasn't an
Yeah,
attack.
I
It
know,
wasn't an
I know
attack.
that wasn't what you meant, but I just want to share that. So as people comment, just to make the conversation move forward, just please try to like place it in a way where you can get an answer. So the caveat to what Nick is trying to say is like I get what he said. I grew up in Nigeria. I moved to America when I was 15. I didn't understand that I was black, right? I never used that word to describe myself. I got to America and I'm like, oh shit, I am black, because there was like when you walk into a room and there's 99 black people and one like mixed person, like maybe they're Indian Nigerian
Yeah,
or they're white Nigerian, like you
you get
never
lumped
need
in.
to, yeah,
You get lumped in with the blacks.
yeah, you never no, like in Nigeria, right? I never need a word to say what I am. But like in the States, it was required. So I get where it's coming from. So I just want to make sure that we don't go back and forth on that because
No,
I think
all I was
both of
saying,
you, yeah, both
all
of
I,
you have valid
One
points.
mic.
D1, yeah,
all I was
D1,
just
you
to
had a
finish.
valid point. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
all I was saying was that I feel that
Clubhouse T.
the more that we separate ourselves with this, like the less chance we have of solving the issue. You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
Like,
No, I agree. I agree.
I want to say really quickly, can we cut
Sorry.
the Twitter fingers? Like we're trying to have a
Thank you.
conversation and people are
Ooh.
like running to Twitter,
Thank
name
you.
dropping, and it's really unnecessary. If you have something to say it while we're all here. That's what this
Exactly.
chat is for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can
Oh, yeah,
I
Renee
go
is
next?
next, and then who's after Renee?
I
Can
Yeah,
think
let
I
me
go
go
Macy.
after?
after
Sorry,
Renee.
can
I
I
get.
go?
I think
Can I go?
Macy, is that how you say your name? I think she's been trying to talk, so
Yeah.
she should go
Okay,
after
so
Renee.
Renee's been trying to talk since before, so please,
And then
No,
Renee
I
can
was
go
saying,
Maxine
next,
and
and
then
then
yeah,
Rowella.
Clubhouse
after
T.
Renee.
okay, perfect. So who was Renee? Let's get the names. Renee, Varelay,
Maxie wanted to go
Verla.
after
Maxi.
Renee, and then Ralph also
Renee.
wanted to
It
go.
was
Yeah.
Caleb.
Verla.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
Renee, you're up, and then Maxi, and then Verla.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name's Renee. I live in the UK. I'm Jamaican and Indian. So yeah, just a bit of background. So I wanted to say that I don't know how to pronounce your name, but you're the moderator in the top left. You made a comment earlier saying that like slavery didn't happen in Africa. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's what the person had said. They had actually said that Africans had African Americans as slaves, which was not possible. And I corrected them that
Clubhouse
enslaving
T.
Africans had other Africans as slaves, like opposing tribes and stuff. So if you want to correct me if I'm wrong, then yeah.
Yeah, Egypt.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that colonization and the same slavery that happened in America also happened on African soil as well, if you was unaware. And it also happens in the Caribbean as well, not just in America. I'm not saying that to be condescending. I'm just saying if you wasn't aware. I feel like from my experience when I've had a lot of interactions with African Americans, they sort of act like slavery is an American thing or an oppression is exclusive to Americans.
I see that. I understand what you're saying.
And another thing is the whole like identifying
Clubhouse
as black.
T.
I can't speak for anybody else, but I know like growing up in the UK as um a Jamaican, a British Jamaican person, everyone identifies as black, even going like back to Jamaica as well. Obviously, we know that we're Jamaican and we have African ancestry, but everyone around me and black people in the UK identify as black. So this is a whole new thing for me to hear it. I am quite surprised about that, to be honest.
Thank you. Yeah, no. I also agree. Slavery is not just an American thing. I feel like in the conversation I had last night, it made it seem as though white people invented slavery. Slavery has been a thing for a very long time before colonization, and it's a global thing. It's not just one country or one continent has it. So yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, but can we agree that white people have definitely pushed it to the brim? Like,
yeah,
Oh,
we
white people
we have not,
colonized.
like, I also wanted to bring that up as far as great as these conversations are and as important as they are, like,
Clubhouse T.
when can we start like taking action to move
Mm,
forward as
I
people?
love
Like,
that.
what do you
And we
think we can
talked
do?
about some of those actions, but let's let Maxi and
My
Varela speak.
Varela.
I also had something to say, by the way. Yeah.
So isn't
Yes.
Maxi? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Maxi. I'm from Australia, but I'm Congolese. So like I hear like I've been here for a while. It's a lot of like British and American people going back and forth. But like I feel like Americans like kind of to the point where Nick was making. So if you guys hear wind, I'm like walking to work right now. So yeah, like Nick was saying, like I mean like oppression is not just like an American thing or it's not just a British thing because there's like a lot of black people in Australia as well. And it's like in Australia it's not as prominent and as like in your face as in America and stuff, but here it's more like systematic and like behind the doors and stuff like that. But
Clubhouse
I feel
T.
like it's affected all of us in the same way. And at this point I feel like we just need to, it's not about claiming black as yours or claiming African American or claiming Congolese or whatever, but it's about like us acknowledging that that's what's happened and it's fucked up, but like we need to like move on and we need to kind of like accept what it is and just use it to better ourselves rather than being like, oh, I can accept where if other people want to claim black, because at the end of the day, like in Australia they don't care if you're Congolese or if you're Somali, like you're black. Like at the end of the day, like they don't even care to ask where you're from. So I feel like everyone goes through the same things, but it's not proper for us to for I'm not saying all Americans are like this because that's not true, but like it's not proper to say that you don't mind if other people claim it because some of us we don't have a choice, like it's put on us regardless.
Clubhouse
So
T.
it's like, yeah, just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Maxi. Can I get Varela to speak?
Yep,
Thank
me.
you.
All right, cool. So yeah, I've been listening to obviously the conversation for a minute. Everyone's making very good points. I just want to speak on because I hear a lot when like say dark skinned people they say that biracial people are not black, and I want to speak on that. So for example, I'm not biracial. I'm light skinned black. So both my parents are black. Obviously, black comes in different shades. Obviously, there's a difference of light skinned black and biracial.